Hi everyone, welcome to day number 16 of our Shir HaShirim learning. Today's pasuk is Parak Hey, pasuk Aleph. It's a very famous pasuk. It says, Basi LeGani achaisi kala. I have come into my garden, my sister, O bride. Arisi mori, I have gathered my myrrh, im besami, and my spice. Achalti yari im divshi, I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey. Shatiti yeni im chalavi, I have drunk my wine with my milk. Ichlu re'im shtu v'shichru dodim. Eat, friends, drink, and become intoxicated, beloved ones. So why is this pasuk so famous? So first of all, there's a beautiful midrash that explains that when Hashem wanted to create the world, he wanted to create free beings that would choose to want to connect to him. But how do you do that? How do you make it so that people want to connect, but it's not super easy, like they're not going to be robots and automatically choose it? So what happened? We know, the Midrash discusses, that when Hashem created the world, his Shekhinah was fully present in Gan Eden. But when Adam and Chava ate from the Eitz Hadas, the Shekhinah withdrew. And with each subsequent generation, at the beginning of Bereshis, when we have many, many sins, like the flood and the generation of Sodom and Amorah, we have the Shekhinah removing itself further and further from the world. But what happens? Avram Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov, and 7 tzaddikim, concluding with Moshe Rabbeinu, with each one of them, they drew the Shekhinah back more and more and more into the world, until ultimately, with the building of the Mishkan, the Shekhinah had a dwelling place in the world. But even that was not actually fully what Hashem wanted, because Hashem didn't want just to live in a building. Hashem wants to live in our hearts. And we know the Torah famously said about the Mishkan, V'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham. Right? If they make me a sanctuary, I will dwell in them. That's really what Hashem wanted. The Midrash points out that it doesn't say Basi LeGan, like I came to the garden, but rather Basi LeGani, I came to my garden. When we make space in our hearts for Hashem, so it's like this beautiful garden that we're building for him, and he comes and he dwells in it. And that's really what he wanted all along. Now, why is this pasuk so famous? Because when the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, when he was towards the end of his life, what he did was he wrote Maimarim instead of saying them, because of all the torture and beating that he had suffered at the hands of the communists in the Soviet Union. He was not able to speak properly. And so he would write Maimarim, and the last Maimar that he published, which came out on Yud Shvat, which was the day that he left this world, was this Maimar entitled Basi LeGani. A year later, when the Rebbe accepted the Nesius of being Rebbe, so he started his whole Rebbehood by saying this Maimar, Basi LeGani, and he started where his father-in-law left off, and he deepened and brought different dimensions in. And then every year on Yud Shvat, to celebrate this anniversary and the Yahrzeit, which was we know is celebrated, that of his father-in-law, that he would say another dimension in this Maimar. And really, the whole Maimar, the whole idea, Basi LeGani, is this bracha and this tefillah. So I'll give us all a bracha, that we should all know that we can make ourselves into the, Gan of Hashem, so that every time we open up a Siddur, every time we go to a Shir, every time we say words of Torah, words of tefillah, every time we say something nice to someone or do a mitzvah for someone, that is creating a garden in our hearts and in the world for Hashem. And really, that was actually the purpose of all of creation. We're now in Elul, and we're learning all of this, and it really comes into this pasuk right here, that this was the love affair that Hashem wanted, And this is why he created the world. So I bless us all to be full participants in this love affair with Hashem.